Hello and welcome to another update video about Ethereum. Ethereum currently follows here the primary path further to the downside. We were still waiting for this fifth wave here to occur. It's likely this is happening at the moment. We talked about it yesterday already, but let's dive into that in a minute. First of all, we are still here in this situation where we're watching if the move down is an A wave of an ABC structure, which would complete a wave 2. Ideally in the region between 1533 and 1754. Ideally in this A wave, we don't break and sustain below 1754. That would be quite relevant because any drop below 1754, any drop below the 50% retracement in an A wave would be a deeper retracement than ideal, would put bearish alternatives more into focus, but for now everything's good, no change, yeah. So we have 5 waves on our radar here. Yeah, we assume currently we topped in a wave 1 on the 16th of April, moved down in a wave 1, moved up in a wave 2, a long third wave. They are often the longest ones, not always. Then here a wave 4, and this is now where we zoom in a little bit. The wave 4 was very shallow. So, you know, I still think this could be this B wave, and we could still see a C wave surprise. Not really my focus, but possible. And the reason for that is that this wave 4 was super shallow. Ideally, you want a wave 4 to go at least to the 23.6 Fibonacci retracement. Now, again, that would have been 1897. It reached like 1894, right, or 1893. So it came quite close, but still not a very healthy or not a very long or healthy wave 4, but just sideways movement really. But valid. You know, we had an A wave up, we had a B wave down, and a C wave up, even though it was very short. You might even be, maybe even it might count better as a WXY, but that doesn't matter so much now for the entire picture here. Yesterday I updated you, we could already be in the fifth wave down. I gave you some targets. We're going to take a look at these targets in a minute. It is, however, a very choppy move, very choppy. We now have 5 waves down, but very difficult to count really. Doesn't really work well with the proportions here like that. But we now have 5 waves down. Yeah. If it is an ending diagonal, which it would be because you have an overlap between wave 1 and 4, you would probably, however, look for a bit of a longer move because the subwaves in an ending diagonal are ABC structures. So what could be is that here the third wave is currently dealing with an ABC. Okay. Let me change the wave degree. They are difficult and they change a lot. The count in a diagonal changes typically quite frequently. It's not a crystal clear impulse, right? But yeah, you could argue that something like a descending wedge is emerging here, which is typical for such an ending diagonal. Not very well defined, but I think reasonably well defined, depending on how you draw the lines. But certainly you often see that kind of movement in an ending diagonal. That pattern indicates exhaustion, yeah, and it typically would come towards the end of a fifth wave, towards the end of an A wave, different possibilities. But in a fifth wave can be an ending diagonal. So when you see that sort of slow grind to the downside in a wave 5, it often is a diagonal, especially if you see these overlaps, yeah. Looks very corrective and would suggest a breakout to the upside in one form or another. We've just made a new low, obviously, here, yeah, on the price chart. Just a smaller, did it actually? Yeah, a little bit, I think, but not really noticeable. Basically, a double bottom here at the moment. Came down to 1806. Let's see if that was a level I highlighted yesterday to you. But at the moment, until I see an impulse to the upside or a sustained breakout here to the upside, I would still assume lower. But what were the targets for the wave 5 that we talked about? So one key target, or at least support level, is 1754. Should be clear by now. We talked about that in every one of the last videos. Doesn't mean we have to get there, but it means that it is definitely a level to watch should we come close. Then we take another way of measuring was to take the length of the wave 1 to go to the high of the fourth wave. look for the 1-to-1 ratio. There you go. And that was the level I gave you. Just need to move that down a bit so it matches. And then here 1809 was the level, the 1-to-1 ratio. Yeah, so that's the key target for a fifth wave. We had a small bounce. I'm not convinced this move down is over, but that's what I mean. You know, these are levels to watch. It reacted twice to the 1810 or 1809 level, because this is the 1-to-1 ratio between waves 1 and 5, typical target. So what is another target? Another way of measuring the length of the wave 5 is to take the length of waves 1 through 3, go to the high of the wave 4, and then to look for the 38.2 Fibonacci extension. That's 1772, but we're not there yet. Yeah, it's very close to 1754. But yeah, there is not much more to add. I mean, you could look at this trend line possibly. You know, maybe that gives you a clue when the trend is over. Not terribly well defined, to be honest, but sort of it's adhering to it at the moment. This could become something like a wedge pattern. Again, typical for an ending diagonal. And somewhere between here and 1754, ideally, I would expect a bit of a bounce. Yeah, and that's my update currently here about Ethereum. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.